All right, here we go. Sorry, guys. I had this all messed up. I had it private. It's like an idiot. All right. All right, guess people are coming here. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, everybody, we are back. It is Taped Online's favorite podcast, favorite channel, favorite everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at @TheMarkJohnNFL for me, at MHolder95 for Matt, and of course, pandasubs.com, discount code TDL. All right, guys. So I was a little late. I'm sorry, guys. I was doing a Jet podcast. Doing some Jet stuff. I've been doing Jet stuff all week. I feel like I'm just a Jets extraordinaire. How many Jets podcasts I've done? So a lot of Jets, but we're playing the Jets, so it makes sense. And we're gonna get ready for this game. This game's gonna be a different kind of look because I don't know if Colt Miller's playing, and I don't know who's gonna play left tackle. And I kind of ignored them signing Brandon Parker. I was like, man, why did they sign Brandon Parker? And then it hit me when I saw Colt Miller was missing practice, and I was like, oh man, they re-signed Brandon Parker. So it's a little bit different game for me now. But let's see what questions you guys got. This is what we're doing. We're doing mid-season Q&A. So ask me anything you guys want to ask me, whatever. I'll try to get you guys questions. Probably spend like about an hour, maybe 45 minutes doing this. And you gotta just let me know what you guys thoughts, And I already see the first question, okay, which is who's gonna play left tackle, which is the biggest question I got this week. Who is gonna play left tackle, right? And that's what I was thinking this whole time I saw Colt Miller being hurt. Is it Illuminor? I don't know if Illuminor's ever played left tackle in his life. I don't know if that's ever happened. And I know people say that you could just switch a guy from one side to the other. I don't know about that. I know he's never done that regularly. So it's going to be interesting to see what he actually does at that position. And if they move him over there. Are they going to move Mumford over there? I don't know how that's going to go. I don't know if Illuminor played left tackle in the preseason. I don't remember. Maybe one of you guys remember, you can let me know. But I am a little worried about that. Justin Herron and somebody else, hopefully they don't put him out there because it'll be a long day for any of them. So I hope they put Illuminor over there and let him fight through it and then play Mumford because I know he's actually coming back this week. So hopefully it's Mumford at right tackle, Illuminor at left, or it's Mumford at left tackle and Illuminor at right. But I think they're going to have a long day if they play like Brandon Parker or something like that. So hopefully they try to mix it up and just go with those two guys and keep it sane there. If let's not let this game get ugly. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. What would you like to see from O'Connell for the rest of the season in order for the Raiders to not take a QB next year, or is it a QB or bust regardless of his play? That's a good question. Now, I believe what O'Connell has to do, he has to really show that he can be the man and not just a game manager. And I feel like that's what he did last game. He did it really well. I'm not gonna take it away from him. He did it really well, but it didn't really feel like that he was the man, right? And I feel like that he has to have one of those games where it's like maybe the Raiders are down like 24-14 in the fourth quarter or something, and he does 2 touchdown drives, that type of things, and maybe he does it multiple times. And he gets the ball in his hands and they start passing and they're able to, he's throwing for 300-yard games and he's not throwing a lot of picks in those 300-yard games and they're not coming in garbage time. They're actually coming when it matters. He's got to do things like that, in my opinion, to kind of keep them from drafting a quarterback really early. I still think, unless the Raiders make the playoffs or something crazy and he just goes on this run, I still think even if they feel comfortable with him going into next season, they got to draft somebody behind him. And that maybe it doesn't have to be a first-round guy, but I definitely would like a second round guy behind him if they feel he's comfortable enough to kind of start next season, but they don't know if he's the guy yet. I need me like a talented quarterback and not like a fourth round, third round guy. I need me a second round quarterback that is talented, that kind of just slipped through the cracks, like a Will Levis type of guy. So if Aiden is going to have to do that, he's going to have to kind of go out there and just ball and have just basically, it's going to be not a question for any of us that he's going to be the starter next year. But if there's a question that he can be the starter, even though he plays pretty decent or plays pretty well, and there's some potential there, I still think they got to go draft somebody, man. They got to draft somebody, and if that means chopping back into the first round and get somebody late that can give him a challenge, and then if he can't beat out Aiden O'Connell, that's on him, And maybe the Raiders, you feel like, oh, the Raiders wasted a pick, but that guy can't beat Aiden O'Connell. That's on him. That's on that quarterback. So. I think he might play well enough where they might feel like he might bring him in next year. But for in order to be like he's the starter, I got to see like a couple 300-yard games or something like that, man. And it doesn't have to be like CJ Stroud games. I just got to see some damn good football from him. Who's covering Wilson, Amik or Peters? I think they're gonna try to. I mean, the Raiders don't switch sides, so it's gonna be both of them. To be honest, and to be honest, the way the Jets pass, I don't know if it's gonna be too scary. To be honest, because Nathaniel Hackett is awful, and they run like the same three plays. It's just ugly to watch. I was watching this morning, I just didn't. Oh, man. It's just ugly, to be honest, on offense for them. So, is he going to get some catches? Yeah, sure. But I think the Raiders should be able to stop him just because they could stop Hackett. And, they should be familiar with Hackett offense from last year. It's not this. It hasn't changed. It's not really different. He runs the same stupid plays that he always runs that Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams used to make him look good with. But he doesn't have those guys anymore. So, and he doesn't have Garrett Wilson looking terrific. And I know the quarterback is Zach Wilson, but still, I think they have a good chance to start him though. And I'm with you right here, delusional Westbrook fan. I laughed. I was like, oh, they signed Brandon Parker, and then Wednesday happened, and Colt Miller was hurt. I was like, oh crap. All right, what else we got here? We're just gonna get through all these guys. I'm gonna go down the line here. What coach QB combo would you want for 2024? I know I'm going to get this question a lot. I know I am going to get this question a lot. So I think for quarterback, I think if they don't like Aiden O'Connell, right? And, I kind of answered that before, but if they don't like Aiden O'Connell, they got to draft a quarterback in the first round. I don't care where they're at. If it's 12, 13, if you got to trade up to 7, I need a quarterback in the first round. I need a first round talent quarterback, no matter what. No matter who the coach is, that's what I need. If they don't like O'Connell, like I said, if they like O'Connell, then I can go second round, whatever. I can wait. I can draft the best player available if I like O'Connell and feel comfortable going with him into the season. But if they don't, and they want to move on from O'Connell and they want to go a different direction, then I need a first round quarterback, no matter what. I don't care what player is there. I don't care if he's the greatest defensive end I've ever seen in my life. That's fine. Raiders need a damn quarterback. That's what they need. They need a young quarterback that with the future, with first round talent, right? And hopefully they don't pick like a Zach Wilson type guy and they miss, or somebody like JJ McCarthy. He might be a guy there. I haven't watched JJ McCarthy yet. I'm still planning on watching him, but he has a lot of talent and he can move, and he might go first round because of the offense he plays in with Jim Harbaugh and all that other stuff. So, but for the coach combo, I want. I'm a big Dan Quinn fan, so I really like Dan Quinn. But, if they go offense or something like that, Frank Smith is somebody I really like that could really bring in a young quarterback and can do a lot of stuff that Mike McDaniels does with Tua, kind of highs Tua a little bit. So I really like that, those type of guys, just a leader or whatever. I mean, that's a big thing for me, a coach, but a first round quarterback, please. That's what the Raiders need. I mean, we're watching Will Levis kind of look like a first rounder, right? And I think the Raiders didn't take that approach last year, and I think they got to take this approach this year, because even though you could talk about best player available and probably a guy that might be more valuable at the position, the Raiders need a future quarterback. And this is the draft to get one, I believe. And I think Shedeur Sanders announced that he's going back they're not coming out 2025 or whatever that I saw. But, Bo Nix, we'll see about him. I know Michael Penix, a lot of people like him, but those type of guys, I think you have to decide what you like and move on from there. But I think that's the approach they got to have. They got to have that approach. because you can't rebuild until you have a quarterback. I'm sorry. You can rebuild all you want. You can rebuild this guy. You can build this guy. Whatever. We need a damn quarterback. So you know what I mean. Does Brandon Facion play this season? Is he off IR yet? Is he still on IR? I think he is. I know some of you guys be answering my stuff here. Is he still on IR? I think he might be. I don't know. If he isn't, I would say yes, he does play. Because I think even if they like Amik, and I think maybe Amik might have taken that spot from him just because he's tough and he makes plays and all that other good stuff. I still believe that, Brandon Facion is still a better player than them. Right. And especially if the Raiders, let's say they beat the Jets, right? They get to 5-5, and then, they're at a pretty good position going into, or they steal a game against the Dolphins. And then, who knows what happens with the Chiefs or whatever. But those type of games, and they get in there like 6-5 or something like that. I think when you play Brandon Facion, it might solidify the other side of the corner position, and they might get more out of that. So, did he? I don't remember. Did Cole Miller get hurt against the Broncos last year? Maybe. I don't think so. I don't know. We'll see about that. What else we got? If you have a mid-round pick and miss on a quarterback, what position should be drafted? It's a good one. I personally, cornerback. The Raiders got to go cornerback if they don't want to take a quarterback and they're like 12-15 and they decide they want to trade up. I like cornerback. I think that's a big position that they need to upgrade because, Ja'Cory Bennett's fourth-round guy. Sure, that's cool. You could develop, but if you can get a first round, really talented cornerback, I think that's something you can do there. I think, Kool-Aid's coming out from Alabama, those type of guys. Get one of those, get a good cornerback so you can kind of build up this secondary a little bit. You got some good young guys, with Moreg and, even Amik's a little bit of a pretty good young guy. So if you can, bring in a cornerback, that's a good spot because I'm thinking linebacker second round, and that's what I want. I want a second round linebacker because that's a great spot for a linebacker. I'm looking at Jeremiah Trotter. That's my dude right now in the second round. I hope the Raiders go that way because that's what they need. If they don't have a quarterback they like, then I would like cornerback at that position. If they find a good safety too, maybe a safety that can play the slot and mix it up there and kind of they can move Nate Hobbs a little bit around and don't have to have him playing in the box as much. I think they can go there as well, but I really like going corner. They have so many edges on this team at this point that if you try to bring in another one, like where is he going to go? Also, defensive tackle is a big one, but I feel like when you get to the 12 or 15 with defensive tackles either go top 10 or they go second round. So when you get to 12 to 15 in those areas, you don't see as many defensive tackles go as you usually do. Even the defensive tackles people really love, those guys end up falling. So, so you can get defensive tackle in the second round too, a pretty good one that ends up falling. But I think corner is a good position for that one. All right. So outside zone. Yes, outside zone for the Jets is going to be key for this game because what the Jets are going to do, they're going to run to the left side. I mean, there's Jerry Tillery. He's right over there. He's right there. I just did a Jets podcast, and he actually brought up a bunch of Raider stats about teams running to the left side, and it's ugly over there. It really is. Max is on the right side. The left side is ugly. Especially with Jerry Tillery over there. I mean, you could have any defensive end. Defensive end could set the edge all he wants, but Jerry Tillery's getting pushed 5 yards back, and there's a big old hole right where Jerry Tillery is at. And they keep lining Jerry Tillery in the same spot, and they keep playing him. Is my thing. So, can we move Tyree Wilson inside on first downs? It's getting frustrating. They're about the same size. They're not like Tillery's like 300 pounds. Tillery's about the same weight and kind of even build as Tyree Wilson. So you could move Tyree Wilson inside on first down, and I feel like he'd do better than what Tillery does. I feel like he's a little more powerful. Tillery just gets pushed back all the way back. Man, it is bad. It is bad. All right, man. I say I like Kid Flash. She gives me those football questions. Are you surprised by how Sam Howell plays so far? A little bit, yeah. I am surprised because I think he's being consistent as a downfield thrower. He's high up in there in yards. He has some turnovers. He's getting sacked way too much. And I think that's a little bit on him trying to make plays. And he's not that fast. And he's trying to play like he's in college a little bit. Always I competent Baker Mayfield, but I am surprised about how he's playing. But that shows a lot about Eric Bieniemy, though. And Eric Bieniemy is cooking it up over there. He might get a shot at a coach. I still think his you got to really check his personality and see how his personality handles things. But if that personality can mesh with what you want on the team, then maybe you look at Eric Bieniemy. But I think it's a little praise to him to what he's doing with Sam Howell, because he has the Commanders players believing in Sam Howell. I think he's the future. The coaching staff thinks he's the future. So, I think obviously Sam is doing some great things in the background with getting the coaches on board. But he's playing pretty decent football. I mean, it's not excellent, great football, you would say, but for a first-year starter and a 5th-round pick, let's not forget that. He looks pretty decent. Knicks in the 2nd. Yeah, I think a lot of these guys, that's why I say if Aiden O'Connell, they like Aiden O'Connell, I think a lot of these guys are going 2nd round. I know we love quarterbacks, and we all want them to go 8. We want 8 quarterbacks to go in the 1st round or 5 every single draft. But I think a lot of these guys, I think there's going to be a big run in the second round, and that goes for like Penix, that goes for Cam Ward, that goes for Bo Nix. I think teams are going to be as a little iffy with those guys, especially because they're older, and and then they start playing well until they were 22. Like Bo Nix didn't play that well. Even Michael Penix, I mean, he has some pretty good, decent games at Indiana, but he doesn't look like he did now. So, all right, let's see. Fields or Murray if they trade for one. Man, I'm gonna go Kyler Murray. Now, I'm a big Kyler. If anybody knows me, I've been a Kyler Murray hater. Okay, but I still think Kyler Murray is pretty damn talented, and I want to see him in this new offense. I think Cliff Kingsbury did too much shotgun with him, and I think with shorter quarterbacks, this is going to be there's a theory of mine, guys. Don't take me seriously here. With shorter quarterbacks, I think they're better under center, because I think you could do more things with play action and have them be able to see the field a lot better. That's why Pete Carroll had Russell Wilson under center a lot. I don't know if you guys remember that back in the day. There's a reason for that, because it helps him see a lot better with shorter quarterbacks. I think when they get under center and they do a lot of things like that, do a lot of play action under center, and they're not playing just shotgun, and you can mix things up and kind of make it so they can't see that much. I think it helps a lot to get those guys under center and have them playing a little bit of play action. So I'm interested to see what Kyler Murray looks like. But Justin Fields is tough for him because he's so damn talented, man. And you watch him on film, he makes some amazing throws, and then the next game he looks like he can't even play quarterback. So he's so up and down right now, and then he had to learn a whole brand new offense. I would go Kyler Murray for now. All right. I kind of went over this a little bit. So to be honest, I did like Penix's film a little bit. He's kind of growing on me. I think he comes out there, he plays pretty well. He runs that Washington offense pretty damn well. So I kind of do like him. I want to get into JJ McCarthy because I think JJ McCarthy is going to go 1st round. I think he's going to be that 3rd guy that somebody's going to fall in love with, because he's going to he has a huge arm, and he can move, and he can do all the things that you want from a modern quarterback. And he's going to be super interesting to see where he falls in this draft, just because the system he comes from, they're going to be like, oh, he runs a pro offense, all that bull crap that they like to do with the guys these days. So I expect that from him. So I just want to get into his film first before I even say anything about him, because I haven't really watched him. And when I did watch him last year, it was in flashes, and there was a lot of things he did that caught me off guard. But yeah, man, JJ McCarthy might be somebody that the Raiders might end up looking at, just because he might fall to them or wherever they want to go at. So I just kind of answer that question. Yeah, see what I have seen with him. The thing is, I'll say this: when I'm watching Michigan, I always see JJ McCarthy make some kind of crazy player throw, and I'm like, what the hell? And I always wonder why he wasn't getting as much draft hype as the other guys. And now I start to see it. Dane Brugler is a big guy that's pushing for him as a 3rd quarterback. I keep seeing him growing a little bit. So, man, I want to get into his tape, though. I got this film against Rutgers. I just need to watch it. I just got to sit down and watch it and go over it and, break it down. I want to do that for members too. I want to put that up there and have you guys watch that with me. So it is something I plan on doing. I'm going to get to that. I swear I'm getting to some JJ McCarthy. It's on my hard drive. I'm waiting for it. So I really do. He's intriguing, man. I'm telling you, he's a big arm, bro. It's huge. His arm is big. And it's not talked about a lot, but he can make all those throws. He can do all those funky throws people love these days. So best time to pick up a right tackle and center. So I imagine you're talking about the draft. So I'm going to say center is like third round to me. I like getting centers in the second round or third round. You get in a first round center, that dude better be like, who's the best center? He better be Jason Kelsey. And I don't know where Jason Kelsey went, but I don't think he's a first round guy. So, I'm trying to think, Creed Humphrey, second round. I'm trying to think of some more centers that are really damn good. I don't know, Rodney Hudson guys. Rodney Hudson wasn't a first round center. Yeah, the center is like second or third round. Right tackle, though, how many guys get drafted as right tackles? That's an interesting question. I can't think of any, really. They usually, the NFL loves to draft a left tackle, move him to the right side and be like, figure it out. I can't think of many guys that are right tackles like that come in the league that way. I mean, I'm sure there's some, but like most of the time they're moving those guys over. Like the Raiders were about to draft Paris Johnson, and they're about to move him to right tackle. That was who they were going to draft this year over Tyree Wilson, but the Cardinals jumped him. And, that would have been interesting. I mean, the offensive line probably been pretty damn good, to be honest. And, Josh McDaniels probably might feel better about his draft picks. But, man, a right tackle, I don't know, man. If I'm picking a guy who's just a right tackle, that's third round too. I'm waiting on that for sure. Let's see what else I got here. If Aiden does go out and kills it, the Jets D, is he the guy? Whew, no, I'm not going to go that far. I'm going to need you to be consistent. I need consistency for me to say you're the guy. I need you could ball one game and you can have this great game and we're all hype, and then we put the next 3 games and you're not good, especially when teams start to get more film on him, right? Because the Jets don't have a lot of film on Bull Hardegree in the first place. So I think that's going to be a little bit of the dynamic in this game too, is there's no film on what Bull Hardegree likes to do. So does Bull Hardegree just switch it all up this week? Does he do something different than he did last week? That's going to be the kind of the chess match that the Jets have to worry about. They got to deal with Bull Hardegree more than they got to deal with Aiden O'Connell, because what Bull Hardegree did was totally different than anything the Raiders did all season. So they got to worry about Bo more than they got to worry about Aiden. But if Aiden goes out there and balls, I might still need to see more from him before I just start crowning him. Because, I mean, it's still only 3 games. Let's keep it real. It's still only 3 games. A lot of guys look really good for 3 games. Can you look good for 16? Can you look good for this many games? And I think that's a kind of the outlook I look at Aiden O'Connell. So I'm not going to crown Aiden O'Connell. Even if he plays well, I'll be more intrigued. For sure. I'll be more intrigued. My eyebrows were raised. I'll be more excited about him. But I still want to see more from him before I crown him and be like, you're the starter, you're the guy, This is a good question. It's a good question. Does Caleb Williams might fall out of the top 2 or 3? I don't think so, because I don't think the NFL is stupid. Now, I know it depends who's picking there. There might be some tough guys, some tough coaches. There's still some old school guys, still some old school GMs are not going to like that he went and jumped to the stands and cried to his mom. They're not going to like that. Some guys, you saw like Jim Nagy, who's the Senior Bowl guy, right? Jim Nagy, Senior Bowl, he has connections, and Jim Nagy is an old school mindset type of scout. And he made mention before he deleted the tweet. But he did mention how some coaches and scouts might think differently about Caleb Williams after that. I think it'd be stupid. I think a little bit it's because he paints his nails too. I think because he's the nail painting, and then he's crying, and NFL, whatever. We're over masculine over here, and we're just, it's a brute sport. It is. It's a brute, for sure. So that type of sport, you want that type of guy. And maybe his personality might rub people the wrong way, but there's no way that we're to go to his pro day and watch him throw the damn football, you're not gonna overthink this. I have my issues with Caleb Williams. The more my issues with him is more about just him adjusting to becoming an NFL quarterback. But man, you can't be that dumb. And there's no way. I don't believe the NFL is that stupid. So, like I said, somebody might do it, but let him fall to 3. There's somebody jumping up. And to be honest, I hope it's the Raiders. If they jump up, the Raiders better do that. They better gotta jump up and try to get him, because that'd be ridiculous, man. He's just so talented. You don't let a talented quarterback like that just fall just because you kind of would do that. So I see some thoughts on Kyler. And a lot of people want Kyler Murray, man. I think they're gonna get Kyler. I mean, it'd be all right. It depends on who's the coach for Kyler. That'd be my thing. What would you give up for Kyler? That contract, though, guys. We got to pay him, right? That's the thing. How much is that contract? What's the dead cap on that? Somebody look that up. Somebody get the dead cap for me on Kyler Murray. Man, that's a contract. So I don't know what you want to give up for that, man. And to be honest, I still don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna give up on him. I think they're gonna give him a chance in this offense. I think Jonathan Gannon likes him, and I think they work pretty good together. Oh man, I think it's gonna be pretty good. Who should we pursue in free agency this offseason? I'm trying to think. I want T. Higgins. I've been wanting T. Higgins since they drafted Jamar Chase. I know they can't pay both of them, and I think his price tag is going a little bit down because he's not having the greatest season. Hopefully, I know Joe Burrow's healthy, and he might ruin that for me. But I like T. Higgins, and so people are going to be like, "Oh, we don't need any more wide receivers." But Devontae Adams is going to turn 33, 30, maybe 32 next year. Then the following year from that, he's going to be 33. You bring in T. Higgins, replacement. Boom. Next thing you know, we got a replacement for Devontae Adams that's still young and still can ball, right? Because I really like T. Higgins. That's somebody who I pursue. I don't know who else is going to be a free agent next year. If Chase Young makes it there, I know he doesn't get a new deal. I think I would like them to look at Chase Young just to match up with Max Crosby. I think that'd be crazy. And whatever defensive tackle and whatever guards they can get. And if they don't resign Andre James, then you got to get you a center. So whoever's out there for center, but I've been wanting T. Higgins, and we're at that moment, guys. We're at that moment that I wanted T. Higgins to be the wide receiver for the Raiders. It just fits to me. I don't know. And they can't pay him, so I don't know what their plan is. They can't pay him. I know they won't. All right. This is my decade-long dream of drafting a top-end talent, Mike linebacker, in the first 2 rounds come true this year. I'm hoping for Jeremiah Trotter. He had a great game against Notre Dame. I mean, he was all over the field. And if any Notre Dame's fans in here, they know that he was all over the field that game. And that's a linebacker I really like in the second round. So hopefully they go somewhere like that, because the Raiders right now they ain't got no linebackers. DT is another position the Raiders really need to look at. I want to figure out what free agents are out there, but that's a position they got to look at. And you can get DTs for cheap in free agency, man, that are really good. I mean, Andrew Billings got a new contract from the Bears. The Raiders didn't re-sign him, but the Raiders got him for cheap. He came back and played really well for the Raiders, and then they let him go. And then he went to the Bears, got a cheap contract, and the Bears liked him so much they gave him a new contract. So that's the type of players you can get right now in defensive tackle. You can get a cheap guy that's pretty damn good over there. So what's your favorite non-QB prospect in this draft? Nothing to do with Raiders, just needing general best. Of course, Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm going to make it easy for you. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best non-quarterback prospect in this draft. If there wasn't like Drake May or Caleb Williams, he might have a chance to go 1. And that's why I said if the Raiders just end up losing a bunch of games, they end up picking 5. They don't have to get T. Higgins anymore. They can get him, right? And some other guy. I like some of these defensive ends that are out there. I guess Jared Verse is a really good guy at edge. I know there's some good edge rushers out there in this draft. There are some pretty good linebackers out there too, and I see some guys breaking them down. I just haven't really fully dove into it because most of the buzz right now is about quarterbacks, and nobody talks about the other players until January. I feel like we don't talk about the other positions until then, and then we're like, oh my God, then these quarterbacks don't go where they go because all we do is talk quarterbacks at this point in time. So But just from my thought process right now, Marvin Harrison Jr. Because I don't know what he does. I don't know what I. Somebody tell me his weakness. If you're an Ohio State fan, and you can tell me what Marvin Harrison Jr.'s weakness is, you might know better than all of us. But I don't see one because Jacorian Bennett runs like a 4.3, right? And Marvin Harrison was running past him like full speed. It didn't no moves. No, like Devontae Adams, I'm going to do a juke move to get past you running a 4.6. I mean, just running straight past him. Then he jumps like 50 feet in the air. He doesn't drop the football. He runs great routes. I don't know what he does wrong. I feel like he's like a Calvin Johnson type of guy. So, he might, if one of these quarterbacks don't work out, it's going to be one of those things like, well, you could have took Marvin Harrison. So that dude, he's a monster. I just don't know what he does wrong, man. Somebody let me know. If you guys know, man, you let me know because I have no idea what he does wrong. If you could tell me, I don't know. Do you know how Champ Kelly would build his roster or his NFL tree? Herb Davis wants to hire him before McSeeks. I think that would be Champ Kelly is going to be interesting too because he's a really beloved guy. I don't know exactly how he built a team though. I don't know exactly what his connections are because he comes from the Bears, and I don't want any Bears guys. So let's start there. We don't want any Bears coaches or anything like that. We don't want any of those guys unless it's like maybe. I mean, unless they switch it up and they bring in Sean Desai as a defensive coordinator. I think he's a pretty good defensive coordinator. I don't know where he's at right now, or maybe they get crazy and hire him as a head coach. I'm not saying that they should do that, but he is a guy that he has connections to. Trying to think of who else is over there. The most dangerous one is like Matt Nagy, those type of guys that are under Matt Nagy's staff. Vic Fangio's, those type of guys were over there when Champ was over there. So hopefully he stays away from the Bears and anybody around there. Because Matt Nagy is a guy that, I hate bringing him up, but he's back over there in Kansas City getting his name back with Patrick Mahomes, even though they're struggling a little bit on offense. But hopefully we don't have to worry about that. But I think Champs could be smart and try to pick the right coach and try to figure out what's the best way for this team to kind of go forward and how to figure out this offense. So, yeah, so I do trust him. I think for some reason, I feel like he has something to do with those draft picks and a lot of scouting because I do like this draft. I do like this last draft. So, he was at the press conference when they went over it. And so I think he has a little bit to do with that. So I think his scouting premise is his scouting, the way he scouts is going to be good for the draft, but for free agency, that's the Raiders' problem the last I don't know how long. I mean, I know people can shout at the cap guy, but I mean, they're in cap hell right now, to be honest, for next season. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does that and fixes the cap and does all that stuff. And they do keep him because I think that's what the Raiders are missing is somebody who's good in free agency. And, Mike Mayock sucked in free agency and he sucked in the draft. And, we got Dave Ziegler, who actually drafts pretty good, to be honest. In my opinion, I think he drafted, especially this past year, but he was terrible in free agency and terrible in contracts. So, let's see. What kind of blackmail does Tyree have on Mark Davis? You can ask what kind of blackmail he has on Patrick Graham. I don't know. Maybe he's really smart. Didn't he go to he went to Notre Dame. Maybe he's like smart or something. Maybe he had like a high IQ, maybe high 4. I don't know. No idea. But he's a weird guy too, man. He's on Max Crosby Live. He made like some weird noise. Like, what is that about? He's just a weird dude too. I don't get it. I don't get why he's still out there. Is Nesta and Jenkins good run stopping duo? Actually, yes. I liked Nesta last week, and this goes back to Josh McDaniels because why the hell was he not playing? What the hell was that about? That's my problem with Josh McDaniels. And and then of course, I'm gonna go on a side rant. John Simpson is over there balling in Baltimore, so I got a personal beef with Josh McDaniels, anyways, because he just let John Simpson go, and he's getting podcasts about him. He has a whole podcast segment that I'm seeing on TikTok and Twitter and all that stuff with John Simpson going viral. And I'm pissed about that. So, and then he got Nesta, who's tweeting how much, Josh McDaniels is doing whatever to him, which I don't understand. I don't get that. Like, so you're not putting the best players in the field? That's why the Raiders are looking how they were looking. So it's just frustrating, man. I'm just pissed about that, man. I was sorry. Just seeing that John Simpson viral video just pissed me off this week. I was like, yo. Like, really? See, that's all it took was some coaching and somebody that could let him play. Oh, wow. Look at that. Pissed me off. Thoughts on how Carr's tenure with the Saints has been going? You know, I think what happened with Carr is that Carr had that shoulder injury, and we know Derek Carr, he's an idiot, and for some reason he doesn't like um, sitting out games and taking one for the team and letting the backup play. I don't know why he just likes to. I don't know. It's like toughness he likes to show, and then so the Saints lost like a bunch of games in a row, but I think he's kind of getting back a little bit to what they like to do on offense. Derek Carr's gonna have a stinker here in a couple games, and Saints fans are gonna be pissed at him. There's a stinker coming. Saints fans know that. Especially if he plays like the next two games, I hope Saints fans know there's a stinker coming. It's gonna come. You don't know when it's gonna come. It could be week 14, week 13. You don't know. But it's coming. So I hope they're ready for that. And it might be at the wrong time in their season, but they're in first place. They're playing in a weak division. I mean, he might win the division going 10-7, 9-8 on that team. So he's playing better over there, and I think he's throwing the ball downfield just a little bit. And he got Alvin Kamara, which is he's got a perfect check down guy. He's got a downfield guy. So it's working out good from him a little bit because the defense is actually getting worse. So that's what I'm saying. We don't know how his season's going to end, and we know how Derek Carr, he doesn't play very well at the end of the year. It's a thing, we know that. He ain't got to worry about the cold playing in the South though. But man, there's a stinker coming. So I just hope the Saints fans know that that stinker is going to just pop up at any time. You don't know when it's coming, but it's going to come. I think he's only had one all year, right? He's had has he had two yet? Because usually there are three. So if he's had two, there's one more. If there's two, if you've done two, there's one more. If there's one, they got two more. So, that's why I was so a fan of him in 2021 because we only had like one stinker that year. And I was like, oh, maybe we're getting past the stinker, just 3 stinkers a year. But then he went right back to 3 stinkers last year. So, that's how it goes. All right. Praying we can tweet Bo knows after the Sunday. I agree with that. Is Bryce Young's rookie season gonna guarantee short quarterbacks never win again? As a short quarterback hater myself, I hope so. But the thing with Bryce Young though is he didn't have a big arm, right? So usually, like Kyler Murray's arm is ridiculous. Caleb Williams, he might be like 5'11", I think, maybe 6 foot, huge arm. Baker Mayfield, pretty damn big arm. So usually we have a shorter quarterback. I mean, Russell Wilson, huge arm, right? Bryce Young didn't have a big arm. I think that's his biggest issue is that he's short with a Joe Burrow arm. And, Joe Burrow has got his arm stronger over time, and maybe Bryce Young can go to whoever Joe Burrow's quarterback coach is and figure that out. But that's Bryce Young's biggest problem is that he doesn't have a strong arm and he's short. So because I'm serious, every other short quarterback in the NFL right now that is a starter has a huge arm. People hate on Baker Mayfield's arm a little bit. Baker Mayfield's a pretty damn big arm. And all those guys, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, and then Caleb Williams going to come in the league. Probably the only short guy right now. I mean, but they're still 6'1". They're really right below it. It's probably Jalen Hurts doesn't have a huge arm, and Tua doesn't have a huge arm. But all the other short guys, big arms. And I think that's the difference between Bryce Young, and I think that's why he's struggling a little bit. The offensive line isn't helping him. He's running into sacks. He ran into a couple sacks right there. I think he's trying to be too much of a playmaker a little bit, and he's got to get rid of the football more. But, I don't think Frank Reich's really helping him over there either. So it's Frank Reich doesn't like to tell quarterbacks that they're doing bad. That was his problem with Carson Wentz. So I don't think he's the coach for Bryce Young. I don't think he's a coach for young quarterbacks either. So I think sometimes young quarterbacks got to be told, not in front of everybody, but like told in the back, like, you can't do that. What were you looking at here? Frank Reich is the kind of offhands quarterback coach. It's not going to work. It's not going to work, man. All right. What do you see the talent of the current roster I compare it to? This is a really good question. Now, I think the Raiders are top heavy in talent, but if you took their talent from the top down, they are a mid-talented team. So, I mean, Max Crosby is top 3 defensive end, right? Devontae Adams, some people will say he's not top 5, whatever, anymore, because whatever, but still, he's Devontae Adams. Hunter Renfrow, he's not getting any shine. So, but we all know Hunter Renfrow is a top 5 slot receiver. Michael Mayer is a really talented guy. Colton Miller, talented left tackle. Trevor Moreg's coming up there as a player. There's talent on this team. I actually think more than ever in a while. That's why I think Josh McDaniels was a terrible coach because he couldn't take advantage of some of the talent that he had. But that's why I also feel like they have the talent and the young talent. They have a good mixture of old talent and young talent where they can afford to trade up and go get a quarterback. I think they have the opportunity to do that. So even though they're not the most talented team in football, and I think on defense there's a lot more holes than there's on offense, they're pretty good. They're pretty talented on offense, even as a young team. Parham is a talented guy, and he could do things over there. And like I said, Trey Tucker, he looks like he's a speed demon for this team for the future for a while. I'm sure Al Davis just loves that. He just loves watching him from heaven. So, watching Trey Tucker run out of field, I'm sure that that is an Al Davis throwback type of player. So I really like what they're doing over there on offense. So I think they're pretty decent, talented team, and I think that's why they're 4-5. Right, they're finding a way to look that way. But with the better head coach, they could have been like 5-3. They're better than the Packers, right? For sure, they're better than the Packers. And I know they beat the Packers, but what I'm trying to figure the team that he lost to. Some stupid teams. The Bears, right? The Bears game. That was stupid, right? No matter what, who's the quarterback, who's the backup, they still should have won that damn game. And so those type of things are kind of frustrating, and the record probably should be a little bit better, but I still think they're a midway talented team. Way more talented than last year, especially on defense, in my opinion. To kind of answer that question a little bit, what's the potential of this team as of now? I do think they have a good chance to fight for a wild card. I don't know if they get in there, but I think there's a good chance they fight for it. I think the end of the season schedule is a little bit not as rough. You got some easier teams to kind of end the year. They can play through. It's just this stretch of games. So this gauntlet. They got to get past the Jets first, which is going to be interesting how they, without Colton Miller, how that game's going to look. And then they got to keep moving forward with that and try to see where they can get on some of those other players. But they might have a chance to finish like 7 wins or something like that, or maybe even 6 if they could just win a couple more. But it's the potential of this team as of now. I still think there's some young players that are growing. We saw all those young players play this week, which I really liked. I saw Tyree Wilson play the most snaps he's played in a while. Like saw Nesta play a lot. A lot of those young guys are out there. Trey Tucker probably played his most snaps that he's played. So we got to get this young talent going. That for next year we could see a lot better. But I still think this team's growing, and we might see Tyree Wilson get better as the weeks go along too. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what we're gonna do. All right, man. What else we got here? Kelsey went the 6th round. See, telling you, you could find a center, bro. Late. Wow, 191 overall. And what would it take for Max to win Defensive Player of the Year? The Raiders making the playoff. Him like leading the league in sacks too. Like if he goes off and gets like 9 sacks in the last 7 games, he's leading sacks and stuff like that. Because J.J. Watt won Defensive Player of the Year, and I think the Texans will make the playoffs. So it's possible. But the Raiders I think the Raiders have to be in the playoff hunt. Let's say that. And I think he's got to make some more. I hate saying this, but he's got to make some more impactful plays. Like he's got to score a touchdown. You know what I mean? Like force a fumble or pick up a fumble, score a touchdown, stupid stuff like that. Pick off a pass. Like pick off a screen pass, something like that to kind of put him over the hump of those other guys. Because TJ Watt has that touchdown, right? He dropped back and got that touchdown there. So, he gets some right tackles here. That DeJuan Jones, that's true. Mike McGlinchey, did Mike McGlinchey play right tackle at? Did he at Notre Dame? He might have. That might be true. Raiders going 9-8 this season. Kind of answered that one. Yes. See, you are right about that. I think so. I'm wrong. You might be right about that. That's what I was trying to figure out. If Illuminor played left tackle before, because if he has, I feel more comfortable. I'm trying to think back to that game. What happened week 10? What game was that? I don't know, man. But I know they were facing Bryce Huff and Jermaine Johnson, and whoever the hell they play over there. I don't know. They got like a rotation of like 800 guys. So you know what I mean? 800 play rotation, man. It's going to be interesting to see how they do. And then, I do want to talk about Jermaine Johnson, because Jermaine Johnson kind of has the same build as Tyree Wilson, and he wasn't very good last year, and he's really good this year. So if you want to have some positivity and feel like what Tyree Wilson could be next year, Jermaine Johnson is a big guy you should look at, because he was awful last season. Really stiff type of player, doesn't have a lot of bend, kind of the same type of player as Tyree Wilson, and he's playing really damn well this year. So, sometimes with defensive ends and stuff, they take a little while, man. Was out in the run game, came alive with the fullback. Is it? Yes, 100%. Fullback is too predictable. And Jacoby Myers is a tell as well, but I liked how they switched that up. They did the reverse with it, scored a touchdown. They also did a crack toss instead of just doing the same power run. With Jacoby Myers, they did a crack toss with them a little bit after they moved them inside. Usually they don't do that. And also they did something interesting too, is when they moved him inside, they did like a play action off it. So they got to mix it up with that stuff and keep these guys off guard in the run game. And I think it's a big thing to continue to do that for sure. All right, man. Do we keep? Ooh, this is a good one. Do they think we keep Josh Jacobs after the season? You know what? I'm going to say yes. One, because I think Mark Davis loves him. And I think since Mark Davis is going to have, I think he's got a little bit more say than we like. But I think Josh Jacobs finds a way to stay here. Just because, he is so tough, and I think Mark Davis really likes him. And, Mark Davis had a meeting with him to get rid of Josh McDaniels, right, and try to figure out what's going on. So if he has that much say, you might as well, right, find a way to keep him, right? I mean, you can't let him change the coach and then get rid of him. So I think he has a good chance to come back, to be honest. I do. Jordan Brooks is a free agent. Oh, see, I like Jordan Brooks. I do like Jordan Brooks. That would be a good free agent pickup, especially if, let's say, they hire Dan Quinn. That's a great pickup right there, Jordan Brooks. All right. Do you think there's a chance the team goes knocking for Jacoby Myers? There could be, but I like Jacoby, and I like him inside, and I think you could play him and Renfro inside at the same time, and we saw that this past week. So I do like Jacoby inside a lot more than I do like him outside. I like him periodically outside every once in a while, but not full time outside. But I do like how they mixed it up last week. But I do like Jacoby, but he could be a piece that gets moved around. I don't know. I feel like you pay him that much money, you got to see what he is year two a little bit. But if they bring in a coach that does the West Coast, he's going to be his first time in any other offense than the McDaniels offense or the Patriots offense. So that would be interesting for Jacoby Myers and see how he fits in a different look, right? So it'd be interesting to see for sure. What would you do with the defense in the offseason? Linebacker, 100%. Defensive tackle. Those are probably the two biggest things I do in free agency. Linebacker, defensive tackle, because you could find good players there in free agency for cheap. And, you don't like Denzel Perryman, which is going to piss people off. The Texans got him for $3 million. And look at him playing for the Texans. So the Raiders got to find a linebacker like that is really good, because he's going to be cheap, because the linebackers are underpaid. And so are defensive tackles. Defensive tackles are way underpaid. So you can find some good guys at those positions in free agency. Marcus Peters. Yeah, so Marcus Peters, he's so up and down, man. He's just inconsistent at this point. He just kind of looks a little washed a little bit. And he doesn't tackle, and now he gives no effort there on tackling. So, man, it's going to be, yeah, I don't know about him, man. I don't see him coming back for sure. Man. And he's not even catching the football. How many interceptions has he dropped this year? He should have like 4 interceptions. He dropped one against Herbert. He dropped one against Kenny Pickett for pick 6. He dropped one last week. And then plus the one he had, that's 4. So if you can't catch the football at this point, man, I don't want you. I mean, that's what he's here for, is to catch interceptions. So he had his chance at 4 and only caught 1. So Yeah, I'm too excited about him. Newton from Illinois. I haven't watched him too much, but I know who you're talking about because I know that dude's a beast. And when I have watched him, that dude is a monster inside. And that's the type of guy. Somebody asked me about 12 and 15. If you would I go corner? And I say a lot of defensive tackles don't go that far, but that is a guy that would get taken at that spot because he's so good. He's such a pass rusher as a defensive tackle. So, Newton is a pretty damn good player from Illinois. I haven't watched his tape that much this year, but I know he can play. And if the Raiders decide not to go quarterback, that's somebody that they can, bring in there and kind of make people feel better about them not taking Jalen Carter as much. Not as much, but a little bit. Just a little bit like, okay, Newton's pretty damn good too. That type of thing. All right. Let's see. Right here, what we got here, Jim Kelly. See, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like somebody might do this. Somebody might take a quarterback over Marvin Harrison Jr. and they might regret it. And then it'll be like, oh, it'd be a whole damn thing. You know what I mean? Okay, I like this question. I'll get this one before I get to the Jimmy G one because I like that one. Do you hear about Bryce Stroud conflict with McDaniels and Ziegler? No, I did not hear about that. But let's go back to draft season. I like this question. Let's go back to draft season, right? And I don't know if you guys remember, Michael Lombardi put out these serious rumors about CJ Stroud, about how he doesn't take coaching well, he doesn't do this and that, and all of these bad things. And I was thinking to myself, man, that came from the Raiders. And now looking back, when everybody said they just wanted Bryce Young, I could 100% see what Michael Lombardi said about him in that show came from the Raiders, man. I knew it did at the time, and I could feel it because the Raiders actually just like met with them like like 2 days before that. And here goes Michael Lombardi talking about he doesn't take coaching well. Like, what the hell does that mean? And obviously he does because he has taken over that damn offense in the 49ers, and he's like the ultimate leader, bro. Like his leadership is like ridiculous. His intangibles, which I guess it really wasn't pointed out during the draft process, and nobody talked about it that much, but his intangibles are nuts. Like it is off the charts, his intangibles and his leadership. And it's like when he went into the press conference and told, talked about Houston fans and how he's going to change that. And it's going to be all Houston fans in there. Like that's, and the intensity in his eyes, like you see it in his damn eyes, bro. It's like, he's not playing around. And, just this past game, he went down the field in 40 seconds. And, his teammates talk about people said they did like a veggie test and they came back and it's all ice. That's what, I don't know how Josh McDaniels didn't get that from him being in the room with him. Because I'm pretty sure if you interview him and you're sitting down with CJ Stroud and you're talking football, I'm sure as hell you could have the leadership just punch you in the damn face. Because it punches me in the face every time he has a press conference. So I don't know what the hell they're. Don't even get me started on these guys with these quarterbacks. Because you want to know why they wanted Bryce Young, only Bryce Young? The same reason that I'll get to Jimmy Garoppolo in a second. The same reason they thought they only wanted Jimmy Garoppolo because he was with Bill O'Brien in Alabama and he can run the system and all that other stupid whatever. But Stroud probably would have came in here and picked that damn thing up. But Stroud might have led a revolt too earlier than probably back in the offseason. Just like they traded for Aaron Rodgers. I'm sure McDaniels would have got fired by August. So. All right. So this is a back-to-back Jimmy question. Do we keep Jimmy? And what do you see from Jimmy G on film, his biggest problems? So I think Jimmy G's biggest problem his whole career has been pressure. And I think he didn't trust his offensive line from the jump. And you could see it on film because he would catch the ball and just get happy feet. And he's one of the worst quarterbacks in football under pressure, and everything that really showed throughout the season. Even, that's why fans had a low viewpoint of the offensive line when he's playing because he always looks like he's under pressure. He always looks like he's avoiding pressure when you watch it on TV. So, man, it is that's probably his biggest issue. And to be honest, I just think he had serious trouble picking up this offense, man. And it's not easy picking up this offense for him, but I think his brain was spinning. You could tell he had no idea where to go with the football if the read wasn't there. He had no idea where to go. No idea. And, and then McDaniels was still trying to do the daggers and stuff with him. And he can't throw dagger, man. Like, what are you doing? So, and it's gonna be interesting. I mean, Jimmy G has so much cap space, but as a backup quarterback, man, I take him. Great backup. Great backup quarterback, to be honest. Elite backup quarterback. Starter, no. Backup quarterback, elite at that position for Garoppolo. So, you don't want to pay him as much money as you do. Maybe you could convince him to restructure or something. Maybe you can, because I bet he loves Vegas. I bet money he loves Vegas, and I bet you can get him to restructure his contract and get him to stay. Just cover how much he loves Vegas, especially when he's like he doesn't have to hurt himself. He doesn't take a lot of hits. He could just do his thing on the weekends and then show up, be ready to play, I guess, kind of, and hope the quarterback doesn't get hurt in front of him. So I would keep Jimmy Garoppolo as a backup, but I would try to get him to restructure his contract a little bit. But I still think he loves Vegas. I think he loves the team. I think he loves the guys too. I think he loves the guys on the team, and I think he might stay if you fix his contract a little bit. Because I think if you switch it and give him $7 million, man, I'm cool with that. He could back up whatever rookie they bring in. I think he's a good backup quarterback for wherever it is. Because however you feel about Jimmy, I have a lot of thoughts about Jimmy G. But let's say we had a rookie quarterback or something. He's playing some games and the Raiders are winning, and and the quarterback goes down. I don't mind playing Jimmy Garoppolo for 2 games. I mean, I don't want him playing for 16, but for 2, I'm cool with that, man. I'm good. I'm cool with that for sure. AB gets the job at 3-year deal. Yes. My answer to the question: if they go any of these records, either one, if they go 8-9, 9-8, he's staying. I think they got to go below 8 wins. I think he's gonna get every single shot to get it. He's gonna get every single shot, guys. He is. So it's gonna be hard. He's gonna have to lose that job. Because I think if they get to 9, especially if they get over 500, bro, 9-8, because that might be a playoff spot. I don't know if you guys seen the AFC standings, but I know they lost to the Steelers, but I think the Steelers are eventually going to come back to life, and it's gonna be interesting to see how that does, man. But if he gets there, that's gonna be crazy. No Colt Miller this Sunday. Thoughts? We talk about Illuminor moving over there to left side. I guess that was confirmed that he did that last year on week 10 when Miller got hurt. So, Illuminor will be able to go over there. He's going to have the Jets pass rush is no joke. I think even Colt Miller would have had a bad game. Rashawn Slater gave up 8 pressures, man. So it would have been a long game for anybody, man. Anybody. Yeah, and I know people, don't like Jimmy G, but I'm just saying, like, as a backup quarterback, man, if you had to have let's just say you had a franchise quarterback, and then he gets hurt, and your backup quarterback is Jimmy Garoppolo. You're like, oh man, all right, we could maybe pull off 1 or 2 of these games, right? It's just when you get to playing him when you pay him like he's a damn starter. That's when I think you're out of your mind, right? But as a backup, top notch, man, top notch. Outside quarterback. I talked about this a little bit earlier. Cornerback is my big focus for the draft. They got to get some studs, cornerbacks, and of course, get some. I think they got to get another interior lineman in the draft. They got to look at that area, whether that's center or right guard. Got to look there. It depends on how this regime feels about Mumford, maybe right tackle, but defense tackle and linebacker. So my main 3. Because number 1, quarterback, if Aiden O'Connell. Right, number 1. 2 is corner. They need some damn corners for sure, like some good young guys. Right. 3 is linebacker. I'm gonna say 3A is linebacker, 3B is defense tackle, because I think that's got to be some serious looks at those 2. And after that, I go interior O line and look at the offensive line, man. So who takes? Talk about Illuminor. I think Illuminor takes that spot. Actually, kind of figuring out. Don't talk about John Simpson, man. Yeah, we did lose them at home, so it's a big deal. Tense. Oh man, that'd be crazy if they go. It'd be 11-6 Cecil, but if that happens, man, if that happens, Aiden O'Connell is a starter next year. We ain't drafted a quarterback, and we're gonna build around Aiden O'Connell, and you kind of get that. So, I kind of answer this question too. I think it's about probably like 90%. I'm just happy we got a woman in here. That's dope. All right. So if you get a wild card, Max will have a good shot. Yeah, hell yeah, about defense tackle. Oh man, this dude. So he gets he's to me. I think he's I don't know. That's sore back, man. I don't know what was up with that, but that sore back injury kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And then like the thing like Marcellus Bennett and Julian Edelman said about him. Whew, man. As a starter going into free agency next year. Yeah, I think it's be interesting when they Hobbs to see how if the Raiders bring him back. I still think he's a pretty solid player. Um, yeah, he's a pretty solid player there, but it'd be interesting to see if they bring him back. Because if they don't, that just makes drafting a corner even more important. Does running back room feel thin? Do you? It does. So I mean, that's another spot they probably look at in the draft. But you can get a running back late third, though, guys. We're not drafting no running backs in the first round. We're not that desperate for running back. Let's say that. We can go in third and fourth, and hopefully don't pick a player like Zamir White, who I think was never supposed to be drafted there, in my opinion. So I never was a fan with him. And Luminar played left tackle in the preseason versus Titans last year. Let's go. We got Jacobs as a Raider. Okay, you see, I'm telling you, Jacobs is gonna be there, man. What else we got, man? What else? I just see some comments. What do you think? Gerald McCoy is he? What's Gerald McCoy doing, man? Is he on TV? Samir White. Samir doesn't have any vision. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, you guys are right about that. Stroud, bro. I said, like, how do you not like Stroud? Like, how do you even like release those things about Stroud? You know what I mean? Like, how do you even do that? Like, it's ridiculous, man. Yeah, that too. He'll construct it because no one else wants him. That's a good point, right? Porn star Jimmy. Yep, I'm telling you, man. He loves Vegas, bro. You saw him on the sideline. He was so happy being benched last week. It was funny. He's talking about Devontae Adams' watch and stuff. He's all happy. He got a smile on his face, benched. Yeah, he's just happy to be in Vegas. That's why I think he'll restructure. Yeah, man. How much are you gonna give me? $5 million? All right, man. Cool. I same house. I can stay in the same house. Hell yes. All right. You know what? I'm gonna talk about this. I did like Stidham. The more I watched the Raiders film and I went over like some of the concepts, I did like him a lot more than at first. But they lowballed him. So that was on them. I mean, that's really on them too. Yeah, that was on them too, man. Big time. What else? Yeah, when they drafted RG3 and Cousins, that's kind of the same thing. I mean, that's kind of what I'm looking at too. Is like, if they like Aiden, you take somebody else behind him. I kind of I kind of feel regardless. I feel like they should take somebody in the second round if they like Aiden. Just in case we get to the second year, Aiden O'Connell just falls apart because then we're like, oh, we don't have anywhere to go. But then if it does fall apart, we're like, oh, okay, well we got Michael Penix at least, and he can come in and do something like that. You know what I mean? So, what else we got? What poll kidder would you want us to get next year? Play callers. What play caller do I want to get next year for the Raiders? Man, that's a good question. I'm trying to think of some guys that are out there that are like quarterback coaches. It had to be somebody that's under some of these quarterbacks. These guys that are calling a lot of good plays out there. Probably like a quarterback coach like Mike McDaniel. If they go that way, maybe they can steal somebody from I don't know who's under Kyle Shanahan. Those type of guys. Maybe they can steal somebody from who else is out there. Like a guy or give a guy a chance like Deuce Staley. I know Ben Johnson kind of took over there, but I think Deuce Staley was calling some plays at the Senior Bowl. I think a little bit. I think that's somebody that maybe they can come in and kind of give him a chance to call some plays out there. Just somebody. They got to go with some kind of quarterback coach. I mean, they could even look to college too. Get now a college guy. The dude from Kentucky is pretty damn good. I think Liam Cohen, pretty damn good offensive coordinator. I think he went back with Sean McVay and then went back to Kentucky. I don't know if he did like Will Levis or something, but he went to Will Levis, went left, and then went back to Kentucky. I thought that was funny. But somebody like him, like from the college ranks, he can come up and make it happen. But that's what I would be looking at. All right, guys, we're running a little bit of time here. Bill Musgrave. What does Greg Olson do? Just bring Greg Olson back as quarterback coach. I'm cool with that, man. Whoever we get a young quarterback. Yep, low ball still overpaid. Garoppolo. Hoping we'd fall LT this week. I think it's going to be a Luminar. Talked about that a little bit. Man, thoughts on Champ Kelly. Kind of like I said, I did talk about that. do we want Bears guys coming in here? But hopefully he doesn't do that, and hopefully he kind of makes the right choice, because I still think he's going to be the GM. I do like some of the drafts they had, and I think he has something a little bit to do with that. And I think Mark Davis really wants to give him control, man. Do you think we can beat the Dolphins? Oh man, it depends on if you can get Tua off his first read, you could beat the Dolphins. That's really how you beat the Dolphins. Tua is one read guy. He's one read. He slide, throw. If you can get him to do his little slide and he has to hold the ball, it's easier said than done, though, guys. It's easier said than done. You can beat the Dolphins, and that's what these good teams do. They just make him go to somewhere else, and he doesn't. I don't know what it is with him, but he just can't process through his reads a lot. And the Dolphins like smash this one play. It's like this RPO play where they have like a guy do a flat, and then there's a corner route, and then there's a post, and they smash that play. So the Raiders are ready for that play. You can get Tua off his game just being ready for that play and having a good game plan for that one. So I mean, it's a possibility. If you had to stop, I mean, the defense is fine, but you got to stop their offense. To be honest, man. So to be honest, all right. So let me get a couple more questions here. Do you think our linebackers are solid, or do we know? Yeah, we need some linebackers. I like Luke Masterson. I'm a big Luke Masterson guy. Really like Luke Masterson. I think he is a starting NFL linebacker. Starting NFL linebacker in my opinion. I think he should play more because it sounds terrible. I think he's the best linebacker on the team. So I think he's got to do that. I'm going to put Hard agree. I really like Bo. I really like what he did last game. Mixed it up. I hope he keeps doing that. Deion Sanders in year 2. Whew. Now, it's funny. I made a joke on TikTok about Deion. Deion hired Pat Shurmur, so I don't know how I feel about him a little bit. Like, what does he do? Like, what is Deion's scheme? Anybody think about that? Like, what is his scheme? Like, what do they do on offense over there? What do they really do on defense? That's what's like. I feel like Deion's just out there coaching, and he's just motivating young guys to be great humans, and that's great for college football. But in the NFL, you have these talented guys, and a lot of guys are going to respect him and what he likes to do, and you're going to listen to him, especially a lot of young players. But I want to know what you got. I mean, he's kind of the same thing like Jim Harbaugh. Like I want to know if Jim Harbaugh comes, I want to know what Jim Harbaugh is going to do on offense. So air raid is the scheme. Okay. So you a little bit more than me, but I mean, he has Pat Shurmur calling plays now, man. I don't know about that. That's scary. That's why he scares the hell out of me. Just anybody feels comfortable with Pat Shurmur calling plays. that's just how I feel, and then demoting Sean Lewis for Shurmur. Yeah, that's my thing. But I think he's a good leader, though. Obviously, he's a great leader of people. So that's a big thing. Any other questions? AOC under pressure. This. I mean, we're gonna find out this game. I mean, he didn't look very good against the Chargers. Keep it real. So we're really gonna find out this game. But I think he got better against the Chargers as the game went along. But man, all right. What else we got? You can be the nominants. All right. All right, guys. Okay, but I do like Shedeur as a quarterback. I do like him as a quarterback for sure. Sorry, I didn't get to that question, but I do like him. I like Jordan Reed's comp from Geno Smith. I like that comp for him. I think even though I think he's a little bit more athletic, but I do like Sanders. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I think it's been an hour 10 minutes. I really appreciate you guys coming with me. I got 130 in here today for a Friday. That's pretty damn good. I hope you guys came and enjoyed your night with me. Maybe you can still get a chance to go out. I know it's like only like 8:30 on the West Coast. It's 9:30 in Arizona. My time change, so it's a little later for me. But I appreciate you guys joining me. And like I said, we'll be back next week with gambling. Glenn was he was out this week, couldn't join me. So every time he doesn't come, I just do these Q&As, and I love how you guys come and answer these questions. So I really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me tonight. And hope you guys enjoy it. All right, bro. See ya. Peace. Oh, don't forget, guys. Subscribe, and get us up to 10,000. We're almost there. Share with your friends. Share with everybody you know. Get us up to 10K, guys. Subscribe. Like I said, I see all these other channels at 10K. Get us there too, man. Get us there too. All right, we're out of here. Peace, guys.